Welcome to Saunders Landscaping. As part of our ongoing commitment to safety, we have established a detailed orientation policy to get you familiar with the important aspects of our health and safety program. All the policies and procedures covered in this orientation are part of our safety manual. You were sent digital access to the safety manual through our Site Docs app. This is available on the app at all times. Let us begin with our company health and safety policy and a general list of responsibilities and accountabilities. We are committed to preventing the incidental loss of any of our resources, including workers and physical assets. We will provide and maintain a healthy and safe work environment in accordance with industry standards and in compliance with legislative requirements. We will strive to eliminate any foreseeable hazards which may result in property damage, incidents, and personal injury or illness, both physical and psychological, including social well-being. All workers, supervisors, managers, and subcontractors will be equally accountable for minimizing incidents within our work sites and facilities. Safe work practices and procedures will be clearly defined in the Saunders Landscaping Safety Manual for all to follow. Safety is the direct responsibility of all managers, supervisors, workers, and subcontractors. Safety is a shared responsibility. Everyone has responsibilities and accountabilities when it comes to health and safety. Let us review the responsibilities at each employee level. Senior management. To provide funding, information, instructions, and assistance to all levels of workers to protect the health and safety of all workers, subcontractors, clients, visitors, and the public. To understand and enforce the occupational health and safety legislation, as well as incident prevention. To provide all levels of staff with proper, well-maintained tools and equipment, as well as any other special personal protective devices that may be required. Access to all safety paperwork, including but not limited to Job Hazard Analysis, or JHA, Safe Work Practice, or SWP, and Safe Job Procedures, or SJP. To monitor and ensure that all levels of staff are competent while performing their duties and to provide or arrange for further training if required. To provide ongoing safety education programs and approve first aid training courses as needed. To monitor projects and hold them accountable for their individual performance. To ensure that policies, practices, and procedures are reviewed annually. To monitor and ensure that all subcontractors are competent and that all work is performed in a satisfactory manner. Managers. To provide information, instructions, and assistance to all supervisory staff to protect the health and safety of all workers, subcontractors, visitors, clients, and the public. To understand and enforce the OH&S legislation as well as incident prevention. To ensure all supervisory staff have proper, well-maintained tools and equipment, as well as any other special personal protective devices that may be required, and access to all safety paperwork, including but not limited to JHAs, SWPs, and SJPs. To provide access to ongoing safety education programs and approved first aid training courses. To assist with the monitoring of projects. To assist with the monitoring and management of subcontractors and staff. And to ensure that policies, practices, and procedures are reviewed annually. Supervisors. To know and apply the company's health and safety policy and relevant OH&S legislation. To ensure that all workers are educated to work in a safe manner and they use all personal protective devices and procedures required by this firm and by legislation to protect their health and safety. To monitor and ensure that all workers are competent while performing their daily tasks and to provide or arrange for further training if required. To warn all workers of any potential or actual dangers and to advise them how to isolate, prevent, or remove such dangers. To arrange for medical treatment when required in the case of injury or illness, including transportation to a doctor, OIS clinic, or hospital when necessary. To report all incidents immediately, to investigate all incidents and near misses fully, and to advise management on how to prevent similar incidents in the future. To carry out regular inspections of the workplace to ensure a healthy and safe work environment, and to report any issues that are encountered on the worksite to a manager or senior manager upon discovery. Worker. To read, understand, and comply with Saunders Landscaping's health and safety policy, safe work practices, procedures, and rules as outlined in the safety manual. To use the safety equipment and personal protective equipment, or PPE, and clothing required by legislation and Saunders Landscaping policy. To notify their supervisor of any unsafe conditions or acts that may be of danger to other workers, themselves, or the public, and to remember that they have the right to refuse to perform dangerous work. To know and comply with all relevant legislation. To report all incidents and near misses to the supervisor as soon as possible, and to complete the appropriate paperwork to correspond with incidents and near misses. And to take every reasonable precaution to protect the safety of other workers, themselves, and the general public. Vehicle and equipment operators. To read, understand, and comply with this company's health and safety policy, safe work practices, procedures, and rules as outlined in the safety manual. To use the safety equipment and personal protective equipment and clothing required by legislation and Saunders Landscaping policy. To notify their supervisor of any unsafe conditions or acts that may be a danger to other workers, themselves, or the public. To know and comply with all relevant legislation. To report all incidents and near misses to the supervisor as soon as possible and to complete the appropriate paperwork to correspond with the incident and near misses. To take every reasonable precaution to protect the safety of other workers, themselves, and the general public. To complete all visual or written inspections as required. To report all malfunctioning, damaged, or missing equipment to the supervisor upon discovery. And to keep all operating licenses in good standing and report any tickets, offenses, or changes to the office immediately. It is important to remember the three main worker rights: the right to know about health and safety matters, the right to participate in decisions that could affect your health and safety, including training, and the right to refuse work that could affect your health and safety and that of others. Hazard assessments. In the commercial landscaping industry, we can encounter a wide range of hazards that can directly affect our health and safety. The purpose of our hazard assessment policy is to minimize injury to workers by identifying hazards and implementing proper corrective actions or measures. Our hazard assessment process consists of the following components. Daily hazard assessment policy. It is the policy of Saunders Landscaping to complete a field level hazard assessment, or FLHA, at the beginning of each day and review it after lunch, upon the startup of a new project, when a task or procedure changes, or when conditions on site change. Changes could include weather, new equipment, or another trade arriving. Daily hazard assessments are also completed when work is conducted on temporary or mobile work sites, workers are conducting activities at a work site not owned by Saunders Landscaping, and a new activity has been temporarily introduced to a work site. Formal hazard assessment policy. It is the policy of Saunders Landscaping to create job hazard analysis, or JHAs, safe work practices, SWPs, and safe job procedures, SJPs, when new operations, work processes, equipment, materials, or products are introduced and when new tasks are identified from employee input. It is our policy to review these annually or when operations, work-related processes, or equipment are modified, and when daily hazard assessments, inspections, or investigations identify a previously unrecognized hazard. Changes to them are communicated to employees in safety meetings, safety bulletins, and toolbox meetings. Let us review the differences between the three formal hazard assessment components. JHAs are specifically provide the sequence of steps, identify the hazards, ranks the priority, provides recommended actions or controls, and assigns responsibility at the task level. Safe work practices. This is a list of general do's and don'ts of completing a task. And the safe job procedure is a step-by-step procedure of how to complete a task under normal and ideal circumstances. The work we do covers a wide range of activities. Your supervisor will provide training and instruction on it as you go. This way, you can be monitored to ensure that you have understood and are working in a safe and productive manner. Be sure to refer to the above administrative tools when required. Copies of the JHAs, SWPs, and SJPs can be found in the safety manual that is located on your Site Docs app. Company rules. We have introduced a set of general rules for all to follow. These are mandatory to ensure the health and safety of yourself and all of those around you. 1. Employees must perform all tasks and operate equipment as per the safe work practice, safe job procedure, job hazard analysis, company policy, and government legislation/regulations. 2. Employees must wear the appropriate PPE when and where required. This includes personal attire of long pants and a shirt that covers your shoulders, no tank tops or shorts. 3. Employees must arrive on time and fit for duty. They must stay on site until their shift is over unless otherwise authorized by a supervisor. 4. If an employee is going to be late or unable to show up for a scheduled shift, they must inform their supervisor or the office as soon as possible. All absences and tardiness will be dealt with at the discretion of the supervisor and management. If applicable, documentation, such as a doctor's note, may be required to excuse the absence. 5. Cell phones are to be used only on your scheduled breaks unless for work purposes or emergencies. 6. Employees are required to follow the instructions given by their supervisor. Employees have the right to refuse a task if it is not safe to perform. 7. Employees must maintain good housekeeping in their work area and company equipment, example machines, trailers, vehicles, etc. 8. All incidents, injuries, and near misses must be reported to your supervisor immediately. 9. Only authorized personnel shall drive company vehicles, and they will operate the vehicle in accordance with the company's vehicle use agreement. Violations of the general rules will be dealt with at the discretion of Saunders Landscaping Management. Documentation is required at each step. Step 1 is a verbal warning, followed by Step 2, which is 2 written warnings, and Step 3, dismissal or termination. There is a 3-month probationary period of continuous employment for all new hires. The 3-warning system is not required until the 3-month probationary period has been completed. In addition to our general rules, there are certain rules that cannot be ignored. When these rules are broken, they present an immediate and severe danger to others. Because of this, a zero tolerance has been put in place. Anyone found violating these absolute rules may face suspension or immediate termination. The rules are as follows. 1. Possession or consumption of alcohol and unauthorized drugs. Unauthorized drugs include prescription drugs that cause impairment that were not disclosed to management. 2. Theft and vandalism. 3. Workplace violence, harassment, or discrimination. 4. Any severe safety infraction. This includes anything that causes an immediate or severe danger to others, including unsecured equipment or trailers. 5. Defiance of authority. The refusal to obey the instructions of your supervisor. 6. Not showing up for your shift fit to work with no notice or communication. As part of our commitment to a healthy, harassment and violence-free work environment, we have put into place a harassment and violence policy. Violent behavior or the threat of violence and harassment of any sort is unacceptable for anyone. In support of this policy, we have put in place prevention procedures. Everyone is obligated to uphold this policy and to work together to prevent workplace harassment and violence. We will investigate all incidents of harassment and violence and take corrective action to address them. We will not disclose the circumstances related to the incident or the names of the parties involved except when necessary. Results and corrective actions will be communicated to those involved. Workplace harassment is defined as any single or repeated incident of objectionable or unwelcome conduct, comment, bullying, or action by a person that knows or ought to know will or would cause offense, humiliation, and/or adversely affect the health and safety of a worker. This includes conduct, comment, bullying, or action because of race, religious belief, color, physical disability, mental disability, age, ancestry, place of origin, marital status, source of income, family status, gender, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, or a sexual solicitation or advance. Workplace violence is defined as the threatened, attempted, or actual conduct of a person that causes or is likely to cause physical or psychological injury or harm. This includes domestic and sexual violence. If you find yourself a victim of harassment or violence, follow these procedures. Tell the harasser or aggressor that their behavior is unwelcome and ask them to stop. Keep a record of incidents, date, time, location, possible witnesses, what happened, and your response. Note, you do not need to have a record of events in the order to make a complaint. However, a record can strengthen your case and help you remember details over time. If behavior continues, make a complaint to Human Resources. Note, you also have the right to contact the Alberta Human Rights Commission to make a complaint, and you can report any incident of assault to the police. Once a complaint has been made, Saunders Landscaping will begin the investigation immediately, keeping details confidential. Interview all involved, complainant, alleged aggressor, witnesses, and if the investigation reveals evidence to support the claim, the aggressor will be disciplined appropriately. Discipline may include suspension or dismissal, and the incident will be documented in their file. If no evidence is found to support the complaint, there will be no documentation concerning the incident placed in the aggressor's file, and regardless of the outcome, all involved in the alleged incident will be protected from any form of retaliation by either co-workers or superiors. This includes dismissal, demotion, unwanted transfer, or denial of opportunities within the company. Supervisors will adhere to this policy and the supporting procedures. They are responsible for ensuring that measures and procedures are followed by workers and that they have the information needed to protect themselves. All workers must work in compliance with this policy and supporting procedures. They are required to take immediate and appropriate action to report or deal with incidents of harassment or violence, whether brought to their attention or personally observed. Personal Protective Equipment, or PPE. PPE is our last line of defense. It is important that all personnel follow the guidelines set out in our policy, with no exceptions. Individuals of this company shall wear the following at all times: long pants, no shorts; acceptable shirts, no sleeveless; CSA-approved steel-toed boots, CSA-approved hard hat, and a safety vest. The following equipment may also be required if certain hazards are present or they are required by the general contractor: CSA-approved safety glasses, hearing protection, gloves, mask or face shield, fall protection, and sun protection. It is the responsibility of the worker to supply their own clothing, gloves, hard hat, and steel-toed boots. Saunders Landscaping will provide safety vests, safety glasses, earplugs, masks, and face shields. It is important that we understand how to select, care, and maintain our PPE. Hard hats can be either of the two available types. Type 1, certified to reduce the impact of blows to the crown or top of the head. Type 2, cushions impact from top of the head and lateral or side impact. Hard hats are also able to withstand varying electrical currents. For what we do, any class will work. When choosing a hard hat, note the amount of suspension points, 4, 6, or 8. The more suspension points the hat has, the greater the hard hat's ability to spread out the force of an impact and reduce the risk of injury. Different brands will also have differing options to sell their product. This could include ventilation to help keep your head cool, lightweight material, terry cloth or vinyl brow pads to absorb sweat, or a wider full brim to provide additional protection against the sun. Always remember to wear your hard hat correctly. This is the only way to maximize the protection it provides. Adjust the headband size so the hat will stay on when you bend over, but not so tight that it leaves a mark on your forehead. Always wear the hat the correct way, not backwards, unless specifically designed to be able to be worn backwards. Do not wear baseball caps, etc. under your hat. And do not store anything inside your hard hat. Use only earmuffs or face shields that are designed for use with it. To get the most out of your head protection, proper care and maintenance is also required. This can be found in the manufacturer's handout that you received when you purchased it. Some general rules are: keep it clean and free of solvents, paints, adhesives, grease, and oil. Wash with a mild detergent and rinse thoroughly. Don't leave it on the dashboard or back window of your vehicle. Replace if the headgear is pitted, holed, cracked, or brittle. Replace once it has been subjected to a blow, even if damage is not visible. Inspect it before each use and remove it from service if there is any doubt about its physical integrity. And do not drill, remove peaks, or alter the shell or suspension in any way. When selecting steel-toed boots, be sure to consider the hazards of the worksite. All footwear must meet the Canadian Standards Association, or CSA. A few tips to consider when making your choice. Wear the socks or liners that you would wear on the job. Walk in the new boots to test the comfort level. There should be plenty of toe room, about 12.5 millimeters. When laced, footwear should be snug around your heels and ankles. Boots with a 6-inch shank are preferred and required on most sites as they provide better protection. When wearing your boots, always lace them up fully. Inspect before each use and remove them from service if there is any doubt about physical integrity. Never jump off equipment or trucks. To ensure the longevity of your footwear, apply a protective water-resistant spray or coating and reapply monthly. Clean off any road salt or mud. Remove any metal pieces that have become stuck in the soles. Replace if the toes suffer an impact, and replace if tread pattern is eroded by wear. Saunders Landscaping will provide safety glasses that meet the CSA Z94.3 standard and protect against UVA and UVB rays. Please note that these glasses may or may not fit over prescription lenses and that they are not shaded. If you require either of these features, you may purchase them on your own. Please note that prescription glasses or contact lenses are not an acceptable form of eye protection. To use and care for your eye protection, remember to inspect it prior to use, replace if the lenses or frames are scratched, bent, or damaged, apply anti-fog spray or use anti-fog wipes if required, clean daily following the manufacturer's instructions, and keep in a case while not in use or a clean and dry place. We will provide all workers with earplugs if required. If inserted properly, they can reduce the decibel level by 32 points. Instructions for proper insertion are located on the packaging and are as follows. Squeeze and roll the earplug between 2 fingers to squish it down. Reach one hand around the back of your head and pull your ear upwards to straighten the S-shaped ear canal. Insert the earplug in the ear canal and gently push it in until snug. Earplugs should be replaced every few days. To extend the life of them, be sure to wash them daily with warm water and mild soap and store in a clean and dry place. For further information on the selection, care, and use of PPE, please review the PPE training document located in the safety manual on the SiteDocs app. This document also contains information on face masks, respiratory protection, and hand protection. Preventative maintenance. We will maintain all tools, vehicles, and equipment in a condition that will maximize the safety of all personnel as per legislative requirements and manufacturer specifications. Managers and supervisors shall ensure that all preventative maintenance is carried out by qualified personnel according to established schedules and that records are maintained. All employees shall regularly check all tools, vehicles, and equipment that they are working with and shall take out of service any tools, vehicle, or equipment that pose a hazard. Inspections are as follows. On vehicles and trailers, a CVIP will be conducted annually on those that require it. Driver's logs, also on required vehicles, are done daily. Critical items, such as controls and overall functioning, is visual prior to each use and written once a month, except for vehicles requiring the daily checks. Repair will be completed when required and preventative maintenance as per manufacturer's recommendations. On heavy equipment, critical items, controls, overall functioning will have a visual inspection prior to each use and a written one once a week while in use. Repair will also be conducted when required and preventative maintenance as per manufacturer's recommendations. For light equipment, power tools such as corded power tools and all saws, all critical items, controls, and overall functioning will have a visual inspection prior to each use and a written one once a week. Repair when required, and preventative maintenance as per manufacturer's recommendations. For miscellaneous items such as hand tools and battery-powered drills, critical items, controls, and overall functioning will have a visual inspection prior to each use, repair when required, and preventative maintenance as per manufacturer's recommendations. Tagging or tag-out procedure. Saunders Landscaping has developed a tagging procedure to reduce the risk of incidents and injuries involving broken or defective equipment and tools. To achieve this goal, the cooperation from all levels of personnel is required. A process of danger tags will be used. The tagging procedure is as follows. You are to inspect the tool and equipment prior to use. If any defects are found, notify your supervisor. Place a danger tag on the tool or equipment. Write down the noted defect on the danger tag. Remove the defective item from service. The supervisor will ensure the appropriate technician repairs the item, and once repairs are completed, the danger tag will be removed. It is important to remember to not use any tool or piece of equipment that has a danger tag on it. Our training policy. In order to make our health and safety program a success, training and communication are key. We will provide and ensure that all workers participate in the following: health and safety orientations for all newly hired personnel prior to beginning work on site, Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System, or WHMIS, health and safety training for supervisors and management, hazard assessment and control processes, first aid training for supervisors and key personnel, job-specific training is required, and refresher and update training is required, which includes an orientation to be completed annually for year-round workers and all returning seasonal workers, and WHMIS to be completed every 3 years. CSTS, or the Construction Safety Training System, is recommended for all personnel, although it is not required unless specified by the prime contractor. We pride ourselves on our in-house training that is offered to employees of all levels. We use on-the-job training, demonstrations, and courses to teach our staff the required skills to complete tasks safely. Health and safety meetings involving all workers will be held biannually, May and October, as we are a seasonal company. As safety is a group effort, we value and encourage two-way communication at these meetings. We also provide a monthly safety bulletin to all workers discussing the past month's changes, incidents, and other topics, as well as an annual safety survey to address any concerns that may have been missed and to help with the annual review of the safety program. Inspections. Our inspection policy. The purpose of this policy is to control the loss of human and material resources by identifying and correcting unsafe acts and conditions. We will maintain a comprehensive program of health and safety inspections at all facilities and job sites. Inspection responsibilities are as follows. Senior managers are responsible for the overseeing of the program. This includes the review of monthly, quarterly, and annual activity summary forms. Managers are responsible for the overall operation of the program. They will review all daily hazard assessments, site inspections, and they will complete the monthly, quarterly, and annual activity summary forms. Supervisors are responsible for conducting ongoing formal and informal inspections of areas where their crews are working. They will sign off on daily hazard assessments, toolbox meetings, and site inspections. Workers and operators are responsible for participating in and contributing to the inspection program. This includes signing off on daily hazard assessments and toolbox meetings. Site inspections and toolbox meetings will be held weekly, per crew. Two-way communication is encouraged at these times. Everyone has a different risk tolerance level. What may seem hazardous to one person may seem harmless to another. It's important to have different perspectives on safety on the job site. Investigations and reporting. It is the policy of Saunders Landscaping to investigate incidents so that causes can be determined and corrective actions can be implemented to prevent reoccurrence. The following types of incidents shall be fully investigated: incidents that result in injuries requiring medical aid, incidents that cause property or equipment damage or interrupt operations with potential loss, incidents that have the potential to do either of those things, such as close calls or near misses, incidents that involve occupational illness and work refusals. All incidents as per the most current OH&S Act must be reported to OH&S and to WCB or other regulatory agencies as defined by the Act. A near miss is an unplanned event that did not result in any injury, illness, or damage, but had the potential to do so. These should be reported as they occur by submitting them through the SiteDocs app. These instances are reviewed and could result in policy or procedure changes. There are many times an incident will occur that doesn't quite fall under the near miss category, but is also not overly serious. These incidents do not involve any first aid, medical assistance, lost time, property damage, or violence or harassment. For example, a banged finger or a trip and fall without injury. When these occur, a simplified investigation can be completed on the Minor Incident Investigation Report form, also located in the SiteDocs app. Investigation responsibilities. All workers and operators shall report all incidents as soon as possible to their immediate supervisor and assist in the investigation when requested. Supervisors shall contact Saunders Management as soon as possible when an incident occurs, conduct the initial investigations, and submit the report to management promptly via the SiteDocs app. Management shall determine the need for and if necessary, shall direct detailed investigations. They shall also identify root causes, recommend corrective action or actions, and ensure corrective actions are implemented. Managers will also review near-miss forms. Senior management will review all incident investigations. These investigations will be discussed at toolbox meetings and communicated through the monthly safety bulletin. Emergency response policy. We believe that a safety-oriented company is prepared for any emergency. Each site will have a site-specific rescue and evacuation plan. In most instances on commercial projects, the prime contractor will have an emergency response plan, or ERP, developed, and it will be communicated or reviewed at the site orientation. This will include information such as the location of air horns, first aid kits or stations, fire extinguishers, and designated first aiders. For sites that do not have a plan, a site-specific ERP will be developed by a Saunders Landscaping representative, which will be reviewed and signed off by all employees on site. ERPs are also discussed in toolbox meetings and daily hazard assessments. The muster point on most commercial sites will be labeled clearly and should be identified on the daily hazard assessment form. If there is no muster point identified, then the muster point will be at the company, trailer, or truck on site. Emergency equipment located in trailers includes first aid kits, fire extinguishers, spill kits, eyewash stations, air horns, and an OH&S book. The emergency equipment in company vehicles includes the first aid kit, fire extinguisher, and spill kit. When you arrive on site, ensure that you familiarize yourself with the location of all emergency response items. All workers are to be aware of the action required in the emergency response plans, but in the event of an emergency, they should follow the instructions of the manager or supervisor. In the safety manual, you will find our standard ERPs for all of the following situations: a medical emergency, evacuation, fire, chemical spill, equipment upset, motor vehicle accident, and working with underground utilities. Please take your time reviewing these prior to coming to site. Health and Safety Committee, or HSC. A Health and Safety Committee is required when you have 20 or more employees working for 90 days or more. They do not have to be working all together or on one site. On average, we have more than 20 employees throughout the year. Therefore, Saunders Landscaping has established a Health and Safety Committee policy. The purpose of the policy is to create and maintain active interest in health and safety, to discuss and recommend effective actions to prevent workplace incidents, to promote an awareness of health and safety issues and an atmosphere of cooperation between management, supervisors, and workers, to help in identifying problems and formulating policy and procedures, and also help monitor and improve workplace health and safety, to support the 3 basic worker rights: right to know, right to participate, and the right to refuse dangerous work. We will ensure, as far as it is reasonably practicable to do so, that health and safety concerns raised by workers and supervisors and the HSC are resolved in a timely manner. Copies of all our policies and rules will be posted in company trailers and the office, as well as being available in the Resources tab of SiteDocs. The information in all of our policies does not take precedence over applicable government legislation with which all employees should be familiar. We have a company-wide crew award competition that is awarded each month between May and November. Aspects that are reviewed to determine the monthly winner include safety paperwork is completed properly and as per schedule, job performance, tasks are completed on schedule and meet or exceed expectations, employees arriving on time and no unexcused absences, timesheets completed properly, cleanliness of trailers and work area, and equipment is being respected and maintained properly. The SiteDocs app. We have made efforts to go digital with our safety program. This app is no cost to any of our workers or team members and is available on Apple and Android phones. It is easy to use and will help streamline the paperwork required by our ever-growing safety program. Most forms will now be completed in the SiteDocs Safety app. This includes the following: Field Level Hazard Assessment, or FLHA, toolbox meetings, site and office inspections, weekly equipment and power tool checklists, monthly vehicle and trailer inspections, all incident forms including near miss and first aid records, site-specific emergency response plans and tests, training forms, health and safety committee inspection and recommendation forms, and subcontractor inspection forms. These forms will be completed mostly by your supervisor or designated worker. However, all will actively participate and sign. As these forms are completed and signed, they will automatically be sent to the office for review and follow-up. In addition to forms, you will find many resources on the app, such as the safety manual. It will be broken out into sections for easy reference. Safety data sheets, or SDS, and toolbox talks, common topics that can be reviewed and signed off on. All training and certifications will be managed through the system, allowing us to keep up on training and make sure that everyone is always up to date. Once you have completed this orientation and quiz, we will forward you the link and sign-in information for SiteDocs. All workers are expected to have the app, however, you will have the choice to have it use data on your phone or be active only when it is hooked to Wi-Fi. The bulk of the forms will be completed on your supervisor's phone or their designated representative. Please complete the employee orientation quiz. You must receive 80% or higher to be certified as trained. If you receive below 80%, please re-watch the video and attempt the quiz again until you receive a passing grade. If you have any questions, concerns, or require further information, please contact the office via email at office@saunderslandscaping.ca or phone us at 403-272-5013. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you.